I stood in the courthouse hallway that morning, watching my wife scroll through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. Her lawyer stood beside her, too close, leaning in every few seconds to whisper something I couldn't hear. His hand brushed her back. She smiled, not at me, but at him. That smile told me everything I needed to know, everything I'd suspected for the past 8 months. I'd come alone. No lawyer, no briefcase, just my keys and my phone. When she first found out I was representing myself, she laughed, called me cheap, said I was too broke and too stupid to handle real paperwork. I let her think that. I'd been letting her think a lot of things. The bailiff opened the courtroom door and called our case. She walked in first, shoulders back, confident. Her lawyer followed, looking like he'd already won. I came in last, took my seat on the opposite side, and waited. Judge Morrison looked tired. Gray hair pulled tight, glasses low on her nose. She'd probably seen 1,000 divorces just like this one. Or so she thought. She glanced at the papers in front of her, then looked up. "This is a dissolution of marriage hearing. Mrs. Keller, you're represented by Mr. Hutchinson. Mr. Keller, I see you're proceeding pro se." "Yes, Your Honor." "Very well. Let's begin with financial disclosures. Mr. Hutchinson, you filed a petition for spousal support. Can you summarize the basis?" Hutchinson stood up, adjusting his tie like he was about to deliver a closing argument in a murder trial. "Your Honor, my client has been financially dependent on Mr. Keller throughout their marriage. She sacrificed career opportunities to support his work. Now that the marriage is ending, she requires support to maintain a reasonable standard of living." I almost laughed out loud. She'd worked part-time at a boutique for 6 months, 3 years ago. That was the extent of her sacrifice. The rest of the time, she complained I worked too much while spending money she thought I didn't have. The judge looked at me. "Mr. Keller, do you have a response?" "I do, Your Honor, but I'd prefer to hear what my wife has to say first, if that's allowed." Judge Morrison raised an eyebrow. "Mrs. Keller, would you like to address the court?" My wife stood up slowly, dabbing at her eyes even though there were no tears. "Your Honor, I just want what's fair. I stood by him when he was nobody, when he was working those long hours for barely anything. I believed in him, and now he wants to throw me away like I'm worthless." Hutchinson nodded along, playing his part perfectly. I sat there, hands folded, watching the performance. Judge Morrison flipped through the papers in front of her. "According to the financial disclosure forms, Mr. Keller's annual income is listed here as..." She paused, squinted, flipped to another page. "I'm sorry, there seems to be an error in these documents. Mr. Keller, can you confirm your annual gross income?" $680,000, Your Honor. That's accurate." The courtroom went completely silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. My wife's face drained of color, then flushed red, then went white again. "Wait," she said, her voice cracking. "What? How much?" Hutchinson grabbed the papers from the table, scanning them frantically. His confident expression collapsed into confusion. Judge Morrison looked at my wife over her glasses. "So an annual income of $680,000 is still considered worthless?" My wife's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. She looked at Hutchinson like he was supposed to fix this somehow. He just stared at the papers. I don't, that can't be right," she stammered. "It's right," I said calmly. "I've been at that income level for about 14 months now, ever since the promotion you never asked about." Her eyes went wide. "You told me you made $45,000? "No," I said. "You assumed I made $45,000. You never asked. You never cared to ask. You were too busy with other things. I looked at Hutchinson when I said it. He noticed. Judge Morrison cleared her throat. Mrs. Keller, did you not review your husband's financial disclosure before filing this petition?
He said, I thought...
Your Honor, Hutchinson jumped in. We were working off information provided by Mrs. Keller. Obviously, we'll need time to review these updated figures and adjust our petition accordingly. Updated figures? I said. These aren't updated. This information has been available for over a year. My tax returns, pay stubs, everything. All filed with the court as required. You just didn't look. The judge was writing something down. Mr. Keller, if you've been earning this income for over a year, why did Mrs. Keller believe otherwise? Because she never asked, Your Honor. And because around the time I got promoted, she started spending a lot of time away from home. Evening meetings, weekend conferences, long phone calls in the other room. I kept my financial information to myself because I wanted to see where this was going. My wife stood up. Your Honor, he's twisting this. He lied to me. I didn't lie, I said. I just stopped volunteering information you clearly weren't interested in. Judge Morrison held up her hand. Mrs. Keller, please sit down. Mr. Hutchinson, I'm going to need you to explain how you filed a spousal support petition without properly reviewing your client's husband's financial situation. This is basic discovery. Hutchinson's face was red now. Your Honor, we relied on the information provided by Mrs. Keller regarding their marital standard of living. Which she got wrong, I interrupted. Because she wasn't paying attention. She was focused on other things, other people. I let that hang in the air. Judge Morrison looked at me. Mr. Keller, are you alleging infidelity? I'm not alleging anything, Your Honor. I'm stating facts. But we can get to that after we finish discussing how worthless I apparently am. My wife was shaking now. Hutchinson put his hand on her shoulder. She shrugged it off. Interesting. The judge sat back in her chair. Mr. Hutchinson, I'm going to give you and your client 15 minutes to confer in the hallway. When you come back, I expect a revised petition or a withdrawal. This court does not appreciate having its time wasted with frivolous claims based on incomplete information. Your Honor, 15 minutes. We're in recess. The bailiff called it. Judge Morrison stood and walked out. Hutchinson grabbed my wife's arm and practically dragged her into the hallway. Through the small window in the door, I could see them arguing. She was crying now. Genuine tears this time. He was pointing at the papers, shaking his head. I sat alone in the courtroom, hands folded on the table. This was going exactly how I'd planned. 15 minutes turned into 20, then 25. Through the window, I watched them argue. Hutchinson kept jabbing his finger at the papers. My wife kept shaking her head. At one point, she tried to walk away. He grabbed her wrist. She yanked it back. The bailiff finally called us back in. Judge Morrison took her seat, looking less patient than before. My wife sat down, eyes red and puffy. Hutchinson looked like a man who just realized he bet everything on the wrong horse. Mr. Hutchinson, the judge said. Status. He stood slowly. Your Honor, we'd like to request a continuance to properly review the financial. Denied. You've had access to this information for months. What's your revised petition? Hutchinson glanced at my wife. She was staring at the table. We're withdrawing the request for spousal support at this time. Noted. Now, Mr. Keller mentioned something about infidelity before the recess. Would you like to elaborate? I pulled out my phone, opened a folder, handed it to the bailiff, who passed it to the judge. Your Honor, those are time-stamped photographs, text message transcripts, and credit card statements. They document a relationship between my wife and her attorney that began approximately 13 months ago. Judge Morrison scrolled through the phone. Her expression didn't change, but her jaw tightened. Hutchinson shot up. Your Honor, this is highly inappropriate. Mr. Keller is making baseless accusations. Sit down, Mr. Hutchinson. The judge's voice could freeze water. These text messages appear to be between a number ending in 4,782 and one ending in 9,156. Are either of those your number or Mrs. Keller's number? Silence. I asked a question. My wife's voice was barely a whisper. 9,156 is mine. Judge Morrison looked at Hutchinson. And you? Your Honor, I don't see how my personal phone number is relevant to. Is 4,782 your number? He didn't answer. Didn't need to. His face said everything. The judge set my phone down. Mr. Hutchinson, you're dismissed from this case effective immediately. I'm also referring this matter to the State Bar Association for review. You can leave now. Your Honor, I have a right to. You have the right to leave this courtroom before I hold you in contempt. Go. Hutchinson grabbed his briefcase. He looked at my wife once. She wouldn't meet his eyes. He walked out without another word. My wife started crying again. Actual sobs this time. Mrs. Keller, Judge Morrison said, her tone softer but still firm. Do you wish to proceed with this hearing without representation, or would you like to reschedule? She wiped her face. Can I talk to him, please? The judge looked at me. Mr. Keller? She can talk, I said. I'll listen. My wife turned to face me. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. How long have you known? 8 months? 8. She closed her eyes. Why didn't you say anything? Because I wanted to see how far you'd take it, how much you'd lie, how much you'd take from me while pretending I had nothing. I never took anything from you. I pulled out a piece of paper from my pocket, unfolded it, slid it across the table. Credit card statement, last 6 months. Restaurants I never went to, hotels I never stayed at, charges for 2 when I was working late. You spent $17,000 on your affair. With my money you thought I didn't have. She stared at the paper like it might bite her. And the best part, I continued. The promotion you never knew about. It came with a performance bonus, $75,000. I put it in a separate account. You never noticed because you never checked. You just kept swiping that credit card, thinking I was barely making ends meet. You set me up, she whispered. No, I gave you space to show me who you actually were. You did the rest yourself. Judge Morrison cleared her throat. Mrs. Keller, given the evidence of infidelity and financial misconduct, I'm prepared to rule on this matter today if both parties agree. The alternative is to schedule another hearing after you obtain new counsel. My wife looked lost. What would you rule? Dissolution granted. No spousal support. Marital assets divided according to state law with considerations for proven infidelity. Mr. Keller keeps the house, as it was purchased prior to marriage and remains solely in his name. Joint accounts split 50-50, though Mr. Keller may pursue reimbursement for the documented fraudulent charges through civil court. The house is just his? According to the deed, yes. You never contributed to mortgage payments, and the title was never changed to include your name. She looked at me. You told me we owned it together. You assumed we owned it together, just like you assumed everything else. The fight went out of her. Fine, whatever. Just end this. Judge Morrison made some notes. Mr. Keller, do you have any objection to concluding this matter today? None, Your Honor. Very well. Divorce granted. Mrs. Keller, you have 30 days to remove your belongings from the marital residence. Mr. Keller is not required to provide financial support beyond that period. Joint accounts will be split as stated. Both parties are ordered to have no contact except as necessary to complete the division of assets. Any questions? We both shook our heads. Then we're adjourned. The gavel came down. Just like that, it was over. My wife sat there, stunned. I stood up, pocketed my phone, and walked toward the door. "Wait," she called out. I stopped but didn't turn around. "Why did you marry me if you were just going to do this?" I looked back at her. "I married someone who didn't exist. You married a bank account you thought was empty. We both made mistakes. Difference is, I'm the only one who learned from mine." I walked out, didn't look back. Outside the courthouse, the sun was too bright. Traffic moved past like nothing had happened. For everyone else, nothing had. Their lives kept going. Mine was just starting. I drove back to the house in silence. No music, no phone calls, just the hum of the engine and my own thoughts. The house looked the same as it always had. 2-story colonial, blue shutters, decent yard. I'd bought it 6 years ago, before I even met her. She'd moved in 3 months after the wedding, bringing boxes of shoes and complaints about the carpet color. Inside, everything was exactly where she'd left it that morning. Her coffee mug in the sink, her magazine on the couch, her entire life scattered around my house like she owned the place. 30 days. That's what the judge said. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat down at the kitchen table. Pulled out my phone. 3 missed calls from a number I didn't recognize. Probably her, using someone else's phone. I deleted the notifications. Then I opened my email and sent a quick message to my boss, letting him know the divorce was finalized. He'd been good about the whole situation, told me to take whatever time I needed. But I didn't need time. I needed normal. I needed routine. The doorbell rang around 7. I checked the camera. Hutchinson. I opened the door but didn't invite him in. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't." "Listen, I know how this looks. It looks like you slept with my wife while representing her in our divorce. That's not how it looks. That's what happened." He shifted his weight. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" He didn't have an answer for that. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to leave. You're going to stay away from her. And you're going to hope the Bar Association goes easy on you. Because if I hear you contacted her, if I hear you try to spin this somehow, I've got 6 more months of documentation I didn't show the judge, understand?" His jaw tightened. "You think you're so smart?" "No, I just think you're predictable. Now get off my property before I call the police." He left. Tires squealed as he pulled away. Satisfying sound. Around 9, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Please, we need to talk. This is Angela." Angela, her best friend. So that's how this would go. I typed back, "Tell her 30 days. That's all the talking we need to do." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "She's destroyed. She didn't know about your income. She thought you two were struggling." Then she should have paid attention to her husband instead of her lawyer. That's cold. That's honest. She made her choices. I made mine. We're done. The dots stopped. No response after that. I finished my beer and went upstairs. The bedroom felt bigger without her stuff everywhere. I'd already moved her clothes into the guest room last week. Sheets changed, her pillow in the closet. I'd been preparing for this day for months. Sleep came easy. First good night's rest I'd had in a year. The next morning, I went to work like nothing happened. My office was on the 14th floor, corner unit with windows overlooking downtown. Senior project manager. The promotion she never knew about had come with this office, the salary bump, and a parking spot with my name on it. My assistant, Shirley, knocked on the door around 10. "How did it go yesterday?" "Done. Finalized." She smiled. "Good. You deserve better than that mess." Shirley was in her 50s, divorced twice, no patience for nonsense. She'd figured out my situation months ago when my wife showed up at the office unannounced and threw a fit about me never being home. Shirley had politely escorted her out and suggested I might want to check my phone records. Smart woman. "Any messages?" I asked. 3 from someone named Patricia. Said it was urgent regarding your personal matters. I told her you were in meetings all day." "Perfect. If she calls again, same response." Patricia, her mother. That explained a lot about why my wife turned out the way she did. By lunch, I had 7 missed calls from unknown numbers. I blocked them all. That evening, I stopped by the gym. Not because I needed to work out, because it was Tuesday. And Tuesday was my routine. Chest and arms, same as always. Carl was at the front desk, former college linebacker turned gym manager. "Heard congratulations are in order," he said. Word traveled fast. That obvious? You're smiling. Haven't seen that in about a year. Fair point. I worked out for 90 minutes, showered, and headed home. The house was dark when I pulled in. Good. No surprise visits, no drama. Inside, I made dinner. Steak, baked potato, salad. Simple. I ate at the table, reading news on my tablet, enjoying the silence. Around 8, the doorbell rang again. Camera showed my wife. She looked rough. No makeup, hair pulled back, sweats and a t-shirt. I didn't answer. She rang again, then knocked. Then my phone buzzed. "Please let me in. I just want to talk." I texted back, "You have 29 days left. Make an appointment like the judge ordered. I'm not leaving until you talk to me." I set my phone down and went back to my dinner. She stayed out there for 40 minutes. Knocked a few more times. Eventually, I heard her car start and pull away. My phone buzzed one more time. "You're not who I thought you were." I typed back 5 words and hit send. "Neither were you. That's the point." Then I blocked her number. The next 3 weeks passed quietly. She came by twice more, both times when I wasn't home. I knew because the camera logged it. She'd sit in her car for a while, then leave. On the day 28, a moving truck showed up. I watched from inside as she and 2 guys loaded boxes. She kept looking at the house like she expected me to come out. I didn't. By 5 that afternoon, the truck was gone. I walked through the house, checking for damage. Nothing. She'd taken her stuff and left. No note, no final message. Good. I poured myself a drink and stood in the living room. My living room now, just mine. The house felt lighter somehow, like it could breathe again. So could I. 3 months passed. Fall turned to winter. The house stayed quiet in a good way. I'd repainted the bedroom, dark gray walls, new furniture. Got rid of the floral curtains she'd insisted on, replaced them with simple blinds. The place felt like mine now, actually mine. Work kept me busy. We landed a major contract with a manufacturing firm upstate. 12-month project, high visibility, exactly the kind of thing that justified my salary. My team was solid. We hit every milestone on time. One Friday afternoon, Shirley knocked on my door. "You've got a visitor downstairs." Security called up. Wouldn't give a name, just said it was personal and urgent. "Who?" Security described her as blonde, late 40s. Expensive suit. "Patricia." Had to be. "Tell security I'm not available." Shirley nodded and left. 5 minutes later, my office phone rang. Internal line from the lobby. "Mr. Keller, I'm sorry, but this woman is insisting she needs to speak with you. She says it's about your ex-wife and it's an emergency." I sighed. "Put her on." Click. Then Patricia's voice, sharp and entitled. "Finally, I've been trying to reach you for weeks." "I know. I've been ignoring you for weeks. What do you want?" "We need to discuss your settlement with my daughter." "There's nothing to discuss. The judge ruled, it's done." "She's struggling. She can't afford her rent. She lost her job. You owe her something." "I owe her nothing. She committed adultery, spent my money on her affair, and lied to the court. She's lucky I didn't pursue criminal charges for the credit card fraud." "You can't be serious. She's living with us now. She's depressed. She cries every day." "That's unfortunate. Still not my problem." "You have $600,000 a year and you won't help her?" $680,000. "And no, I won't. She made her choices. These are the consequences." Patricia's voice went cold. "You're not the man she married." "You're right. The man she married was a fool who trusted the wrong person. I'm not him anymore. Goodbye, Patricia." I hung up, blocked the office number from her phone, made a note to security that she wasn't allowed in the building. That evening, I met up with Jaden for dinner. We'd been friends since college, both in engineering, both too busy with careers to maintain the usual social circles. He was one of the few people who knew the full story. We grabbed a table at a steakhouse downtown. Nothing fancy. Good food, decent prices. "How's freedom treating you?" he asked. "Honestly, better than I expected. House is peaceful, work is good. Sleep through the night now." "No regrets about how you handled it?" "None. She had every chance to be honest. Instead, she chose to cheat, lie, and treat me like I was worthless. She earned what she got." Jaden cut into his steak. "Heard through the grapevine that Hutchinson got suspended by the Bar Association. 6 months, pending full review." "Good. He earned that too." "Think they'll last, her and him?" I laughed. They already didn't. He blamed her for ruining his career. She blamed him for getting caught. Last I heard from someone who knew them, they hadn't spoken in 2 months. Poetic. We finished dinner talking about work, sports, normal things. It felt good. Normal felt good. Around 9, I headed home. The route took me past the neighborhood where I used to pick her up from her parents' house when we were dating. Different lifetime. At a red light, I glanced over at a bus stop. A woman sat there, head down, bundled up against the cold. Something familiar about her posture. The light turned green. I kept driving. 2 blocks later, I pulled over. Sat there for a minute. Told myself it wasn't my problem anymore. Started to pull back into traffic. Couldn't do it. I turned around, drove back, and pulled up to the bus stop. Rolled down the window. It was her. She looked up, surprised. Older somehow, tired. "Get in," I said. "What?" "It's freezing. Get in. I'll drop you wherever you're going." She hesitated, then opened the door and climbed in. Didn't say anything for a full minute. "Thank you," she finally whispered. I drove. She gave me an address across town. Small apartment complex, the kind with bars on the windows. "This where you're staying?" "For now, until I can find something better." We pulled up to the building. I put the car in park, but left it running. "Listen," I started. "I'm not doing this to be cruel. I'm not trying to hurt you. But what happened happened, and I can't fix it for you. You have to fix it yourself." She nodded, tears running down her face. "I know. I'm sorry. For everything." "I know you are. But sorry doesn't change anything. You need to figure out who you want to be. Not who you were trying to be with me or with him. Just you. I don't know who that is anymore. Then start figuring it out. Get a job. Build something. Stop waiting for someone to save you." She wiped her face. "Are you happy?" "Yeah, I am." "Good. You deserve that." She got out of the car, closed the door, walked into the building without looking back. I drove home, parked in my garage, and went inside. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Thank you for the ride, and for everything you didn't say. I needed to hear it." I stared at the message for a while. Then I deleted it and went to bed. Some bridges you burn, some you just let collapse on their own. Either way, you keep moving forward. 6 months after the divorce, I got a call from my attorney, the one I'd hired after everything was finalized to handle the civil suit against my ex for the fraudulent credit card charges. "Settlement offer came through," he said. "She's willing to pay back $8,000 over 2 years, monthly installments." "What's the total she owes?" $17,000 plus interest comes to about 19. "So she wants to pay less than half?" "Correct. Her attorney argues financial hardship. She's working retail now, minimum wage." I thought about it. "Tell them I'll take $10,000. Full amount, 60 days. Not negotiable." "She won't be able to pay that." "Then she shouldn't have spent money that wasn't hers. Send the terms." He did. 3 days later, the response came back. She'd accepted. Her parents were covering it. The check arrived 5 weeks later. I deposited it and donated the entire amount to a legal aid charity. Money I never wanted in the first place. Work continued to go well. The manufacturing contract wrapped up ahead of schedule. My boss called me into his office on a Thursday afternoon. Project came in under budget and early. Clients thrilled. Corporate wants to know if you're interested in the director position opening up in January. Director, another bump, more responsibility. But I'd earned it. "I'm interested." "Good. It's yours if you want it. We'll talk details next week." I walked out of his office feeling accomplished. Not because of the title or the money, because I had built something on my own terms. That weekend, I ran into Jaden at the gym. We grabbed coffee after. "You look different," he said. "Good different?" "Yeah, feel different. Lighter." "Seeing anyone?" "Not yet. Maybe eventually." "No rush." "Smart. Give yourself time." We talked about his work, his family, normal things. It felt easy, comfortable. On my way home, I stopped at a bookstore, picked up a couple of novels I'd been meaning to read. At the checkout, the woman in front of me turned around. Not my ex, just someone who looked similar from behind. Different hair, different face. I realized I hadn't thought about her in weeks. The anger was gone. The hurt was gone. Just empty space where she used to be. That night, I sat on my back deck with a beer, watching the sunset. The house was mine. The career was mine. The peace was mine. Everything I had, I'd earned. And nobody could take that away. 1 year later, I stood in my kitchen making breakfast. Scrambled eggs, toast, coffee. The radio played classic rock. Sunlight came through the windows. The director position had been everything I'd hoped for. Challenging work, good team, projects that mattered. I'd traveled to 3 different states for client meetings, built relationships, made a name for myself that had nothing to do with anyone else. The house had changed too. New furniture in the living room, bookshelves I'd built myself, plants that somehow stayed alive. It felt like home, actually felt like it. I dated a little, nothing serious yet. Took my time, learned to trust my own judgment again. No rush. My phone buzzed. Text from Jaden. Poker night at Carl's place. You in? I'm in. Simple, easy, normal. I finished my coffee and headed out for my Saturday run. 5 miles through the neighborhood. Clear head, strong legs, no weight on my shoulders. At the park, families were out. Kids on swings, dogs chasing frisbees, couples walking hand in hand. Life happening all around me. I thought about the courtroom. The look on her face when the judge read my income. The panic in Hutchinson's eyes. The silence that followed. It felt distant now, like something that happened to someone else. I'd heard through mutual acquaintances that she'd moved out of state. Fresh start somewhere new. Hutchinson had his license reinstated after his suspension, but lost most of his clients. Different paths, different consequences. I didn't wish them well, didn't wish them ill, just didn't wish them anything. They were part of a chapter that had closed. Back home, I showered and changed. Looked at myself in the mirror. Older, sure, but better, stronger, clear-eyed. The man looking back had earned his peace, built his life from honest work and honest choices, learned hard lessons, and came out better for it. I grabbed my keys and headed to Carl's place for poker night. The future was mine to write. And I was just getting started. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. Attention isn't given, it's noticed. And accountability? That's not revenge. That's just the truth, finally catching up. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.